Leo's blood ran cold as 3 anonymous messages lit up his phone screen, each one a hammer blow of dread. The stark, menacing text appeared while he was trapped in a cavernous lecture hall, feigning interest in a lecture on data structures. He knew who it was from. The message informed him that the sender had his computer's IP address and a chillingly casual threat that if he was found, he would be utterly destroyed. "You're at Northwood University too," the message concluded. "You better pray I don't find you." Leo risked a glance forward. Ethan Hayes, the victim of his elaborate deception, sat 2 rows ahead. To an outsider, Ethan was the model student, his posture perfect, his gaze fixed on the professor. But Leo saw the truth in the white-knuckled grip on his pen, the sheer force of will it took not to snap it in two. Ethan was incandescent with rage. For weeks, he had tried to contact Leo through a dizzying array of burner accounts, only to be met with silence. Now, he had resorted to tracing an IP address. Leo's stomach twisted. He looked at Ethan's broad shoulders, the subtle yet powerful definition of his biceps visible even under a loose-fitting university sweatshirt. The guy was a regular at the campus gym. One punch from him would probably send Leo's teeth scattering across the polished floor. The rest of the lecture was a blur of anxiety. The moment the professor dismissed them, Leo bolted, sprinting back to his dorm as if the devil himself were on his heels. He burst through the door, his first act to yank the power cord from his desktop computer. For the next month, his gaming rig remained dark and silent. The feud with Ethan had started 2 months prior. Ethan was Northwood's golden boy, an academic prodigy who consistently overshadowed Leo in every competition. This year, Leo had once again been denied a significant scholarship because Ethan had won the prestigious CodeCon National Collegiate Challenge, a competition usually dominated by graduate students. Rumor had it that Ethan's aunt was the dean of the College of Engineering, and whispers of nepotism and backroom deals followed him, suggesting he'd been unfairly given a spot on the team. Leo seethed with a sense of injustice. Felt like a blatant abuse of power. The opportunity for revenge presented itself when his childhood friend, Chris, called him in a panic, on the verge of failing a critical political science class. Chris lamented how Northwood was supposed to be full of geniuses and wondered why writing one paper was so hard. He offered Leo $500 to write it for him, promising eternal gratitude. Leo, a computer science major, was about to refuse when a thought sparked. Ethan was minoring in political science. A wicked, brilliant plan began to form. He told Chris he would take care of it, not for the money, but for the sheer satisfaction of it. That evening, Leo created a new social media profile and began his campaign. He sent Ethan a direct message with a picture of a stunningly beautiful model, asking if he was interested in meeting up. The reply was swift and blunt. He liked men. An instant later, a red notification confirmed Leo had been blocked. Undeterred, Leo used an old number to create a second, more subtle profile. This time, he played the long game. He liked Ethan's posts, left occasional comments, and waited. Eventually, Ethan replied, asking if he also studied programming. The hook was set. Leo, posing as a struggling political science major named Liam, claimed he was just curious about coding. Their conversations grew longer, more frequent. One evening, under a manufactured veil of intimacy, Leo sent a carefully cropped photo of himself in the mirror, showing only his torso from the waist down. It was his best feature, a slender waist with a subtle curve that always drew compliments. He told Ethan, as Liam, that he had lost a lot of weight recently. Ethan asked why. Leo explained that he couldn't write his paper and his professor was threatening to fail him. He sighed dramatically into the chat, then said he had to go, that he probably wouldn't have time to talk for a while. Ethan's reply was instantaneous. He told him to wait, offering to write the paper for him. All he needed was the topic. Huddled under his covers in the dark dorm room, Leo muffled a triumphant laugh. Ethan swallowed the bait completely. He promised Ethan they could meet up, maybe even start dating, as soon as the paper was done. Ethan was completely smitten, sending good morning and good night messages every single day. Less than a week later, a perfectly written, polished paper appeared in Leo's inbox. The plagiarism score was negligible. It was clearly a work of considerable effort. Leo sent a simple thank you. Ethan, however, wanted to know when they could meet. He asked if Sunday was good, commenting that the weather was supposed to be nice. He then asked if Liam's waist was really as narrow as it looked in the picture, musing that it seemed like he could span it with one hand. He asked for more pictures, and when Liam didn't reply, he quickly backpedaled, asking if he had been too forward. The moment Ethan's apology was sent, he received the notification that he had been blocked again. Leo could picture the look of stunned disbelief on Ethan's face. It was glorious. The $500 from Chris arrived, and Leo immediately bought himself a new pair of basketball shoes. At the campus gym, fate intervened. He was in the locker room, changing into his gym clothes, his shirt off. He heard footsteps approach and assumed it was his teammate. He called out, asking who they were playing against, saying he was tired of playing forward. The person behind him remained silent. Leo turned and found himself face to face with Ethan, whose gaze was fixed intently on his bare waist. A jolt of panic shot through Leo. He quickly grabbed his jersey to cover himself and demanded to know what Ethan was looking at. Ethan's eyes flickered away, and he muttered an apology, claiming Leo was blocking his locker. Heart pounding, Leo hastily pulled on his jersey and fled. He'd used a filter on the photo, but had Ethan recognized him? Judging by his nonchalant reaction, probably not. On the court, his relief evaporated. His friends had arranged a pickup game with Ethan's crew. Staring at Ethan's tall, athletic frame, Leo felt a familiar sense of dread. This was going to be a slaughter. When the game started, however, Leo's anxiety proved unfounded. Ethan wasn't as dominant on the court as he was in the classroom. Leo managed to score on him several times. At one point, during a scramble for the ball, Leo nearly tripped, and Ethan's hand shot out, his fingers brushing against his waist to steady him. The touch was brief, but it sent a strange current through Leo. He sank a three-pointer in the final seconds, winning the game. For the first time, he had actually beaten Ethan Hayes at something. Elated, he pulled up his jersey to wipe the sweat from his forehead. Across the court, Ethan was drinking from a water bottle, but his eyes drifted over, his gaze cool and unreadable. Leo immediately dropped his shirt. As they were leaving, Ethan asked if their group wanted to grab some food. Leo claimed he had other plans and made a quick exit. Despite being in the same major, they rarely interacted. A couple of weeks passed without incident. Leo began to believe Ethan had moved on. Northwood University was a massive campus. The chances of being found were slim. For the university's fall festival, the Outdoor Adventure Club organized a 3-day hiking trip. Leo signed up but arrived late at the hotel rendezvous point. Everyone had already paired off. The club president, a gentle guy named Alex, pointed to a figure slouched on a sofa in the corner. He told Leo that was his roommate for the night. Leo looked over and his eyes met the deep, intense gaze of Ethan Hayes. Leo froze and immediately shook his head, asking Alex if there were any other rooms available. Alex explained that everyone else was in pairs, couples, or friends, and Ethan was the only other single guy. He shrugged, reasoning that it wouldn't be a problem since they were both men. It was a huge problem. That evening, after dinner, Alex organized some icebreaker games. Leo deliberately sat as far from Ethan as possible, choosing a spot next to Alex. Alex was kind and attentive, even taking a penalty for Leo when he kept losing. Across the circle of students, Leo's eyes met Ethan's. Ethan was sipping a glass of orange juice, his gaze steady and watchful, like a predator waiting in the shadows. At the time, Leo didn't understand why he was being stared at so intensely. Later, back in the room, Ethan closed the door and flipped the deadbolt. When Leo emerged from the shower, he found Ethan standing right outside the bathroom door. Startled, Leo tried to sidle past, but Ethan blocked his path, his eyes scanning the area around the tie of Leo's bathrobe. He asked if Leo knew a Chris Miller. Leo feigned ignorance, asking who that was, but his heart was hammering against his ribs. Chris was his friend's full name. Ethan stepped closer, his voice low. He called him Leo, then corrected himself, asking if he should call him Liam instead. It was over. Leo took a step back. His foot slipped on a wet tile and he flailed. Ethan's arm shot out, catching him securely. His eyes were dark pools of fury. He gritted his teeth, saying he had thought the mole on his waist looked familiar. He asked if it was fun, playing him like that, and if Leo had any idea what the past month had been like for him. He reminded Leo of his promise, of what would happen if he ever got caught. Leo swallowed hard, his throat dry. He remembered the threat of being destroyed. He told him to bring it on. Ethan's lips curled into a cold smirk. He said he hoped Leo wouldn't be crying later. Leo clenched his fists, bracing for a fight. He'd never been one to back down. But instead of throwing a punch, Ethan stepped forward, pushed the bathroom door shut, and picked up a bottle of shower gel. Leo clutched his bathrobe tighter, demanding to know what Ethan was doing. Ethan simply lifted the hem of the robe. Realization dawned, and Leo scrambled backward. Ethan advanced slowly, his eyes glinting with the promise of retribution. Leo yelled that he was already clean, questioning why he would need more soap. He was cornered. Ethan's face was a mask of cold fury as he grabbed him. He said he would show him exactly what he was going to do. His leg pressed against Leo's, and Leo felt something unexpected. His eyes widened in shock. This psycho was gay. He instinctively tried to shove him away, his elbow knocking the shower faucet on. Cold water sprayed over them, soaking Ethan's clothes and revealing the taut, powerful muscles beneath. Leo struggled, but Ethan's grip was like steel. He yelled that this was assault, that he wasn't gay, that Ethan had to let him go. Ethan's voice was a low growl. If he wasn't gay, he asked, then why did he lead him on? Was it all just some sick joke? Leo's silence was his answer. Ethan snarled that this made it even worse. He bit down hard on Leo's neck. A sharp pain made Leo flinch, and he began to struggle in earnest, a trapped animal. This was just supposed to be a prank, not this. He pleaded with Ethan, saying he was sorry, that he would never do it again. But Ethan wasn't listening, his hand moving lower. A wave of pure terror washed over Leo. In a final, desperate move, he stomped hard on Ethan's foot and used the moment of surprise to shove him away with all his might. The floor was slick with soap and water. Ethan lost his footing, stumbling backward. His head hit the edge of the sink with a sickening thud. Leo, clutching his disheveled robe, scrambled for the door. He heard a low, pained groan from behind him. He paused, looking back. Ethan was still on the floor, unmoving. He asked if Ethan was okay, defensively stating that Ethan had started it, that it was self-defense. Ethan didn't answer, but a dark red liquid began to spread across the white tiles, mixing with the water. Leo's eyes widened in horror. He rushed back to Ethan's side. Ethan had a gash on his head, and his arm was swelling rapidly. Leo grabbed a towel to apply pressure to the wound and frantically called for an ambulance. Ethan's face was pale with pain, but he still managed to glare at Leo, his voice a hoarse whisper. He told Leo to just wait. Leo, his own voice shaky, urged him to be quiet. The late-night ambulance call alerted the hotel manager and Alex. Leo told everyone that Ethan had simply slipped in the shower. He spent the night at the hospital, running errands and filling out paperwork. The $400 he had left from Chris's payment went directly to Ethan's medical bills. It was a bitter, ironic twist of fate. Thankfully, Ethan didn't have a concussion, just a nasty cut and a fractured right forearm. After 2 days of observation, he was discharged with his arm in a cast. Unable to care for himself and consumed by guilt, Leo had no choice but to take Ethan back to his off-campus apartment. Ethan lived alone, preferring the quiet. During the entire ride, Leo apologized profusely while Ethan radiated a silent, simmering rage. If not for his broken arm, Leo was certain he would have been beaten senseless. Inside, Ethan's apartment was tidy and minimalist, with a couple of well-tended plants on the windowsill. A moment later, Ethan called out from the bathroom, his voice strained, telling Leo to come in. Leo leaned against the doorframe, asking sarcastically if he needed help aiming. Ethan shot him a glare, saying he wished. He needed help washing up. He hadn't had a proper shower at the hospital and felt grimy. Leo sighed and prepared a washcloth and warm water. As he carefully wiped Ethan's back and shoulders, Ethan's eyes followed his every move. Leo kept his gaze lowered, the atmosphere thick with a strange tension. He had to admit, even through the towel, he could feel the firm, sculpted lines of Ethan's muscles. His eyes flickered to the bottle of shower gel on the counter, and he couldn't help but ask why he had wanted to use it on him that night. He wondered if it was just some bizarre form of revenge. Ethan's gaze turned predatory, and he asked if Leo really wanted to know. Leo swallowed and quickly said no. When he finished with Ethan's upper body, he hesitated. He tentatively moved the washcloth lower, but as he reached Ethan's abdomen, Ethan pushed his hand away. He demanded to know what Leo was doing, accusing him of taking advantage of the situation when he was supposed to be straight. Leo, indignant, threw the washcloth back into the basin, retorting that he wasn't the one taking advantage. After cleaning the bathroom, he came out to find Ethan complaining of hunger. He reeled off a list of demands. A specific burrito but with no beans, a spicy chicken sandwich but hold the spice, garlic knots with no garlic, and a Caesar salad with no dressing. He was treating Leo like a personal butler. Their eyes met, and Ethan let out a soft, theatrical hiss of pain from his arm. He told Leo to hurry up. Leo ground his teeth and said he would be right back. He went out, bought a plain cheese pizza, left it outside Ethan's door, rang the bell and fled back to campus. He added Ethan's main account on a messaging app. With Ethan unable to type properly for class, Leo became his reluctant assistant, his on-call scribe. Ethan was infuriatingly particular. His clothes had to be ironed, his keyboard wiped down daily, his food preferences meticulously followed. Whenever Leo was at his apartment, Ethan would watch him with a smug, triumphant smile. Leo found himself looking forward to class, just to escape. One evening, the club organized a charity sale. Leo was helping out and noticed Alex seemed distracted. After the event, he asked what was wrong. Alex admitted he had bombed his presentation for an English public speaking competition and hadn't placed. Alex was a business major and another one of the campus overachievers. Unsure how to comfort him, Leo suggested they go to a local taco joint. He told Alex not to worry about some competition and offered to take him to a LAN center afterward, promising to carry him to victory in a few rounds of gaming. Alex's eyes lit up. He said he wanted to play all night, so they headed to a gaming cafe that rented private rooms by the hour. While they were at the front desk, Ethan called. Leo had almost forgotten about him. He answered, and Ethan immediately asked where he was and why he hadn't come over. Leo explained that something had come up and he wouldn't be able to make it, telling him to just order delivery. In the background, the clerk asked them if they wanted a room with one large monitor or two separate ones. Alex looked to Leo, who, feeling the pinch from Ethan's medical bills, opted for the cheaper single-monitor room. Ethan's voice on the phone turned to ice. He asked who Leo was with at a hotel. Leo explained he was with Alex, the club president, and they were planning to game all night. There was a long silence on the other end. Ethan asked if it was an emergency. Before Leo could answer, Ethan said it was nothing, just that his arm was hurting and he couldn't hang up his laundry. He told Leo not to worry about it if he was busy, and hung up. Leo and Alex settled into their room and started playing. It had been ages since Leo had a chance to properly game, and he was buzzing with excitement. But a strange unease settled over him. His focus was shot. He kept glancing at his phone, worried about Ethan being alone. His right arm was useless. So many simple tasks would be impossible. What if he hurt himself again? Then Leo would be stuck playing nurse for even longer. He'd promised to carry Alex, but Alex ended up carrying him through every match. By 10 o'clock, Leo couldn't take it anymore. He told Alex a friend needed him and he had to leave. Alex, completely absorbed in the game, waved him off. Leo hurried out, stopping to buy a spicy chicken sandwich, no spice, on his way to Ethan's apartment. Took Ethan a long time to answer the door. When he did, he stared at Leo, surprised. His hair was dripping wet, with shampoo still lathered in it. Leo asked why he hadn't called him to help with his hair, worried he might have slipped again. Ethan mumbled something about Leo being busy, but the corner of his mouth twitched into a small smile. Leo steered him into the bathroom and properly washed his hair. As he was drying it with a towel, Ethan opened the container with the chicken sandwich. He smiled, asking how Leo had managed to convince the cook to make one without any spice. Leo scoffed, telling him he'd picked every single fleck of pepper off himself. Ethan paused, his spoon hovering in midair. He ate slowly, thoughtfully. The soft whir of the hairdryer drowned out his quiet thank you. Ethan had thick, unruly hair. Leo found himself wondering if he'd go bald from the stress of being a programmer one day. The image made him want to laugh. He looked down and found Ethan watching him, his dark eyes like deep, still water. Leo suppressed his smile and asked if the air from the dryer was too hot or too cold. Ethan looked away, saying it was fine. Leo then realized he was standing between Ethan's legs, his knees brushing against his thighs. He remembered with a jolt that Ethan was gay and quickly stepped back. But Ethan's hand shot out, grabbing his wrist and pulling him back into the same position, telling him to keep going. Leo cleared his throat, suddenly flustered, and tried to finish as quickly as possible. In his haste, he didn't notice that every time he raised his arm, the hem of his shirt lifted, exposing the pale skin of his waist directly to Ethan's line of sight. Ethan watched, his fingers twitching. Just as he seemed about to do something, Leo announced he was done and stepped away, keeping a safe distance. He couldn't help but notice a conspicuous bulge in Ethan's gray sweatpants. Leo had done nothing, yet Ethan was clearly aroused. Flustered, Leo looked for something to do and noticed Ethan's closet was a mess. The first time he'd been here, everything was impeccably organized. Now it looked like a disaster zone. He started tidying up and a pair of gray shorts fell out. He picked them up, noting they seemed a size larger than anything he'd ever seen. He glanced at Ethan's sweatpants and felt a flicker of disbelief. Was that a normal size for a guy? As he stood there staring, Ethan walked in. His eyes widened slightly when he saw what Leo was holding. He asked what he was doing, a note of incredulity in his voice, as if he'd caught Leo being a pervert. Leo stammered that he was just organizing his closet and hastily tried to stuff the shorts back in. He fumbled, knocking a storage box from the top shelf. Tumbled down, contents spilling. Before he could react, an arm wrapped around him, pulling him into a hard chest. The scent of mint shampoo filled his senses. The box crashed down on Ethan's casted right arm. Ethan grunted in pain, but his first question was whether Leo was okay. Leo, shaken, said he was fine. He saw the genuine concern in Ethan's eyes, and a strange, unfamiliar feeling fluttered in his chest. Before he could identify it, Ethan released him. A red mark was already forming on the back of Ethan's hand where the box had hit him. Leo asked if he needed ointment, but Ethan dismissed it as a minor scrape. It was getting late. Leo said that if everything was okay, he should probably go. As he turned to leave, Ethan blocked the doorway. He asked where Leo was going. Back to the LAN cafe to play all night with his president? Leo said yes, that Alex was probably waiting. He tried to push past, but Ethan held the doorframe, unmoving. He told him he wasn't allowed to go. When Leo asked why, Ethan's eyes darted away, and he mumbled that his hand was bothering him and Leo needed to stay and take care of him. Leo pointed out that he had just said it was fine. In the end, Leo stayed. Alex had other teammates, and besides, he had an early class the next day and couldn't risk oversleeping. After showering, he put on a set of Ethan's pajamas and headed for the spare bedroom. But the door wouldn't open. He asked Ethan what was wrong with it. Ethan, looking uncharacteristically shifty, claimed the lock was broken. So Leo asked where he was supposed to sleep. Ethan gestured toward the master bedroom, saying his bed was big enough for two. Leo stared at him, memories of their previous encounters flashing through his mind. He was not eager to share a bed. Sensing his hesitation, Ethan held up his casted arm, pointing out that he was hardly in a position to try anything. Besides, he added, being gay didn't mean he was attracted to every single man he met. Reassured, Leo cautiously got into the bed. It was large and they could easily keep to their own sides. Worried about bumping Ethan's injured arm, Leo slept on his side, facing away. In the middle of the night, half asleep, he felt a weight on his waist. It was heavy, making it hard to breathe. Long fingers traced his side, gently measuring the span of his waist. A low whisper broke the silence. So narrow. You really can wrap a hand around it. The advanced Java course was a nightmare, and the professor assigned a mountain of homework. Ethan now insisted that Leo help him with his assignments. He would provide the logic and Leo would do the typing. Leo discovered that Ethan truly was brilliant. His thinking was fluid and innovative, the kind of mind perfectly suited for development. With his guidance, Leo finished his own assignment faster than ever before. He couldn't help but feel a sliver of admiration. He told Ethan his work was submitted and asked if he needed him to come over that night. He expected a smug yes, but Ethan hesitated before saying he didn't need him, that he could manage on his own. Leo felt a surprising pang of disappointment. He nodded and said to call if he needed anything. As he spoke, Ethan's phone lit up. He glanced at it and then hurriedly left the library, as if rushing to meet someone. Without his butler duties, Leo suddenly had too much free time. He was back to his old, carefree life, but an inexplicable emptiness had taken root. He spent the weekend in his dorm, gaming. By evening, he still hadn't heard from Ethan. In fact, he hadn't heard from him in days. A flicker of worry sparked. What if something had happened to him at home? He bought dinner, a burrito with no beans, a Caesar salad with no dressing, and went to his apartment. Near the building, he saw a familiar figure standing under a tree. He was about to call out when he noticed someone else with him. It was a slender guy with slightly curly hair, dressed in a light blue jacket. He had a charming smile. The two were walking and eating ice cream cones. When the ice cream started to melt, the guy handed Ethan a napkin and helped him roll up his sleeve to keep it clean. The gesture was easy, familiar. Leo studied the other guy and noted his mannerisms seemed stereotypically gay. He wondered if they were from the same circle, if they had a lot to talk about. He watched them go into the building together and the takeout bag in his hand suddenly felt very heavy. Was this Ethan's new boyfriend? No wonder he hadn't been calling. He had someone else to take care of him now. Leo's arm dropped to his side, a leaden weight in his stomach. He went back to his dorm and ate the entire meal himself, feeling sick afterward. Ethan's arm healed, and he called Leo when he went to get the cast removed. But Leo made an excuse about being busy. He figured Ethan had someone else to go with him anyway. In class, Ethan habitually saved him a seat, but Leo saw him flexing his newly freed right hand. He didn't need Leo to take notes for him anymore. There was no reason to sit together. Leo walked past him and took a seat in the back row. Ethan turned, a confused look on his face. His phone buzzed. It was Ethan, asking why he wasn't sitting with him and commenting that he looked pale. Leo typed back that he'd been up all night gaming and needed to catch up on sleep. Ethan asked if he was with Alex. Leo replied yes. The conversation ended there. Throughout the lecture, Leo watched the back of Ethan's head. He had gone online and researched gay relationships. It was more complicated than he'd thought. Based on what he'd read, Ethan was definitely a top. The other guy, with his delicate features, would be the bottom. They seemed like a good match. He wondered if they had spent the night together, in that same bed in the master bedroom. If so, Ethan wouldn't be bothering him anymore. The thought brought him no comfort. His mind was a chaotic mess, and he didn't absorb a single word of the lecture. The moment it ended, he grabbed his books and hurried out. Alex had invited him hiking on Sunday to watch the sunset, and he needed to buy some gear. A familiar voice called his name. Ethan was right behind him, asking if he wanted to get lunch. Leo said no. At the store, Ethan found him looking at hiking poles. He asked if Leo was going hiking, and why he hadn't invited him. Leo stated flatly that he was going with Alex. Ethan's expression hardened. He asked why Leo hadn't told him. Leo retorted that Ethan's arm had just healed and he probably shouldn't be doing anything strenuous. He paid for his things and started to leave, but Ethan grabbed his arm, his voice low and serious. He asked if Leo was avoiding him, wondering if he was afraid he'd finally settle their old score. Leo snapped that he had been his butler for 2 months, and the debt was paid. If that wasn't enough, he offered to write Ethan's next term paper. He yanked his arm free, his patience gone. Ethan's shoulders slumped slightly, his expression crestfallen. He said he didn't need that the whole incident was in the past. He just wanted things to be like they were before. Leo scoffed, asking how exactly he wanted things to be. He pointed out that Ethan had a new guy to keep him company, so why was he still clinging to him? He said he didn't know who the guy was, but he could guess. He pictured them in Ethan's apartment, in that bed, and a wave of revulsion washed over him. He declared that he wasn't gay and had no interest in being friends. Whatever Ethan did and with whoever he did it was none of his business. He told him that since the score was settled, they should go their separate ways. Ethan stared at him, and then a bitter, humorless laugh escaped his lips. He said he finally understood why Leo hated him so much, why he'd gone to such lengths to mess with him. It was because, in his eyes, being gay was just that disgusting. Leo wanted to argue, to deny it, but the words caught in his throat. He didn't hate gay people, but he couldn't stop the irrational anger he felt toward Ethan. Ethan's face became a cold mask. He pulled out his phone and, right in front of Leo, deleted his contact information. He assured him that he, the homosexual, would never bother him again. Leo stood frozen, watching him walk away, a suffocating tightness in his chest. After that day, he and Ethan were strangers again. They didn't sit together, didn't eat together. During a pickup basketball game, when a friend tried to recruit Ethan, he took one look at Leo, said he didn't feel like playing, and left. Leo told himself he didn't care. He went to see his academic advisor about his application for a student leadership program and overheard a conversation between several professors in the hallway. They were discussing the upcoming CodeCon regionals and wondering if Northwood could take first place again. One professor asked the dean of engineering why her brilliant nephew, last year's champion, had managed to break his arm and miss the registration deadline. The dean sighed that there was nothing to be done, that he hadn't been careful. Another professor joked that she should pull some strings to get his name on the list. The dean laughed it off, saying the selection was based on qualifying exams and rules were rules. She was known for her integrity. The professor lamented what a shame it was, especially since winning would have practically guaranteed a graduate school admission. Leo stood outside the office, the professor's words echoing in his mind. Ethan wasn't a nepotism baby. He had earned his spot. All this time, Leo had misjudged him, treated him with prejudice, and had even caused the injury that cost him his chance to compete. The weight of his guilt was crushing. He looked at the deleted contact on his phone, his scalp tingling with dread. For days, he agonized over how to apologize. One night, he finally worked up the courage and sent Ethan a friend request. It remained pending. He had really pushed him too far. Chris called him to play games, complaining that he was never online anymore. He asked if Leo had gotten a girlfriend. Leo denied it, but then froze. His recent behavior mirrored all the classic symptoms of his lovesick roommates. Sleepless nights, constant anxiety, an obsession with one person's every move. It all fit. An alarm bell went off in his head. But the person was a guy. Was this a crush? Could he actually like a guy? He replayed the memory of Ethan holding him, every expression, every touch still vivid in his mind. His heart rate quickened. The idea wasn't as repulsive as he'd thought. Was it possible he'd been converted? He tossed and turned all night, tangling himself in his sheets. The club's charity sale was a huge success, and Alex, who had organized it, was commended by the university. He threw a celebratory dinner for the club members at a popular brewery across from campus. When Leo arrived, he was surprised to see Ethan was there. He saw it as his chance to apologize. There was an empty seat next to him, but as Leo approached, Ethan spoke without looking at him. That seat was taken. His voice was glacial. The apology died on Leo's lips. He found another spot, next to Alex. Just as the food began to arrive, a latecomer appeared and slid into the seat beside Ethan. It was the curly-haired guy from before, now dressed in a trendy, eye-catching outfit. Ethan greeted him as Julian, a warm smile on his face. Julian's mannerisms were delicate, almost feminine. He was impeccably groomed. Leo frowned and asked Alex under his breath if people were allowed to bring guests. Alex said it was fine. An inexplicable gloom settled over Leo. Alex, noticing his gaze, explained that Julian was with Ethan and had bought a lot of items at the sale, donating them all to charity, so he had invited him along. Leo nodded. It seemed Julian and Ethan were indeed very close. Maybe they were already a couple. During the meal, Julian consistently placed Ethan's favorite dishes in front of him. He knew Ethan disliked certain spices and onions and would pick them out for him. Ethan quietly told him he could do it himself, but Julian just smiled and said his hand had just healed and the doctor recommended he take it easy. His actions were natural, habitual. Other club members, curious about the newcomer, struck up a conversation. Julian introduced himself as Ethan's high school friend, currently studying film abroad. He was back in the States for a visit and was trying to convince Ethan to apply to grad school overseas so he wouldn't be so lonely. The table buzzed with conversation. So they were old friends, which explained their easy rapport. If they were planning on going abroad together, their relationship must be serious. Leo took a sip of his drink, not realizing it was a hard peach cider. The alcohol burned his throat, and he broke into a coughing fit. Alex patted his back and handed him a glass of water, teasing him for being like a child. As he caught his breath, he looked up and met Ethan's deep, dark eyes. He quickly looked away. If he hadn't interfered with his catfishing scheme, Ethan and Julian would probably have gotten together a long time ago. He poked at the food on his plate, his appetite gone. After dinner, his neck began to itch. He scratched it a few times, and Alex's eyes widened. He asked what was wrong, pointing out that his face was covered in red blotches. Leo checked his phone's camera. It was true, he looked like a ripe tomato. It was probably a seasonal alcohol allergy. His skin always became sensitive when the weather changed. Alex told him to stop scratching and, after saying goodbye to the others, insisted on taking him to the campus health clinic. Leo said it wasn't necessary, but Alex was firm. They had only walked a few steps when someone caught up to them. It was Ethan. He stared at Leo, his expression unreadable, and told Alex that he would take him. He reasoned that it was late, and Alex should escort the female students back to their dorms. Alex, ever the helpful president, agreed. The street was suddenly quiet, with just the two of them. Ethan reached for him, but Leo pushed his hand away and started walking. Ethan's cold voice cut through the air. The clinic isn't that way. Leo shot back that he didn't need his help. He didn't want to be near him right now. He had only gone a few paces when a strong hand grabbed him and pulled him into a dark, narrow alleyway. Ethan pinned him against the brick wall. He demanded to know what Leo's problem was. Why would he say he hated him and then send him a friend request? The words caught in Leo's throat. Finally, he decided to just say it. He confessed that he had misunderstood him, that he had thought Ethan used his family connections to get on the competition team and steal someone else's spot. But he had found out a few days ago that wasn't true, and he wanted to apologize. Ethan stared at him, his grip loosening slightly. He asked if that was the only reason Leo hated him. Leo confirmed it, apologizing again for the prank and for causing the injury that made him miss the competition. He told Ethan that he had said what he needed to say, and that he should go back to his friend. He scratched his neck again, the itch now unbearable, leaving a raw red line. Ethan grabbed his wrist, his thumb gently rubbing the irritated skin on his neck. He asked how he could possibly leave him like this. Leo pulled back, telling him not to touch him. Ethan's face hardened with frustration. He asked why it was okay for others to touch him but not him. Was it just because he was gay? Was he that repulsive? He demanded to know why Leo had sought him out in the first place, asking what he wanted from him. The question snapped something inside Leo. He shot back that he should be asking Ethan the same thing. His frustration boiled over. He stared into Ethan's cool, distant eyes. The same eyes that had been so warm and smiling with Julian just an hour before. With him, he was colder than a stranger. Leo's control shattered. He yelled that Ethan had a boyfriend now, so what was he doing showing concern for him? He accused Ethan of turning him gay only to run off with his lover to another country. He screamed that this was Ethan's revenge. Wasn't it? A way to mess with his head and make him miserable. Ethan was stunned into silence. After a long moment, he slowly, deliberately refuted each point. He said he didn't have a boyfriend, that Julian was just a friend whose parents knew his. He wasn't even planning on applying to that school. And then he asked when, exactly, he had turned Leo gay because that was news to him. Leo froze, the blood draining from his face. They weren't together. His whole dramatic outburst, his jealousy, it was all out in the open. Mortified, he turned to leave, mumbling that he had been talking nonsense. But Ethan was faster. He grabbed him, pressing him back against the wall. His dark eyes were close, and a slow, knowing smile spread across his face. So, Leo, you have a crush on me. Why didn't you say so sooner? Before Leo could form a denial, a soft, tentative kiss landed on the corner of his mouth. He went completely still, his mind blank. He didn't resist. Worse, he found he didn't want to. He stared at Ethan's lips, so close to his, and felt an insane urge to touch them again. As if reading his mind, Ethan leaned in again, his lips brushing the sensitive skin of Leo's throat. He gently stroked his neck. He said enough drama for one night and told him he was taking him to get some medicine. Ethan bought an antihistamine cream and took Leo back to his apartment. As he gently applied the cream to Leo's neck, Leo noticed there was still only one pair of slippers at the entrance, with a disposable pair for guests. He couldn't help but ask if Julian had stayed over when he visited. Ethan said no, that he had only been there for a little while before leaving. He explained that Julian couldn't stand American food and was just visiting for a few days. Leo asked how he knew he'd been there. Ethan just said he knew. He put the cap back on the cream, a playful, triumphant smile dancing in his eyes. He realized that was why Leo had misunderstood his relationship with Julian, that he had been jealous this whole time. Leo stubbornly denied it, claiming he'd read online that the gay community was promiscuous and had assumed Ethan was like that too. But as soon as Ethan had given him the answer, the heavy stone that had been sitting in his chest for weeks simply vanished. A sense of relief washed over him. Promiscuous? Ethan repeated the word, an amused yet slightly offended edge to his voice. He said it depended on who it was for. Before Leo could ask what he meant, Ethan leaned in and kissed him again. Leo turned his head, but Ethan was insistent. He declared that after all the jealousy, Leo's mouth was still stubborn, and he was determined to find out if anything else was. He pushed Leo down onto the sofa, his kisses becoming heated and demanding. Leo was breathless. His face was a swollen, blotchy mess, and he couldn't believe Ethan still wanted to kiss him. He tried to turn away, using his hand to block his face, but Ethan captured his wrist, pinning it above his head. His heart hammered against his ribs. He had never imagined he would end up in this situation with another guy. Ethan's hand slid down to his waist, and a jolt of panic shot through him. He pushed him away, stammering that he hadn't showered yet. Ethan's lips curved into a smile. He said all right and went to get him a set of pajamas. After Leo showered, Ethan went into the bathroom. Leo discovered that the door to the spare bedroom was now unlocked. That manipulative jerk had locked it on purpose last time. Once again, they were lying in the same bed. This time, Ethan held him close, his arm wrapped around him, his hand gently restraining Leo's from scratching his neck. His breath was warm against Leo's skin, their bodies close. Leo's heart pounded, expecting something to happen. But as the minutes ticked by and he grew sleepy, Ethan remained still. He finally asked if he wasn't going to do anything. Ethan's voice was lazy, teasing. Do what? Leo called him a bastard and turned his back to him. Ethan pressed closer, his erection hard against him, and a low chuckle rumbled in his chest. He whispered that he wouldn't take advantage of him while he was having an allergic reaction. He wasn't a total monster. He told him to get some sleep. Leo scoffed. Easy for him to say. He should try putting his weapon away first. Finals were approaching, and Ethan became his study partner at the library. He was incredibly tactile. Whenever they sat together, his arm would be pressed against Leo's, or his leg would be touching his. Leo was terrified of someone noticing. The stigma against gay relationships was still very real. One evening, as they left the library, the elevator was packed with students. They were pushed to the back, and Ethan secretly took his hand. Leo immediately pulled away, shooting him a glare. On the walk back, once they were in a less crowded area, Ethan tried to pull him in for a kiss. Again, Leo dodged him. Ethan's patience finally wore thin. He stopped, his expression serious, and asked why Leo was always pulling away. He wanted to know if Leo was still uncomfortable being with a guy. Leo denied it, explaining that he was just worried about what other people would say. Ethan retorted, asking who cared what other people thought. They were in a relationship, not committing a crime. He was right, of course, but Leo worried it could affect their academic lives. Before he could explain, Ethan's face closed off. He walked on ahead, a rigid distance between them. When they reached a deserted grove of trees near campus, out of sight of any security cameras, Leo pulled him into the shadows. He grabbed the collar of Ethan's shirt, pulled his head down, and kissed him on the lips. Ethan stared at him, his dark eyes smoldering. Then, as if a switch had been flipped, he wrapped his arms around Leo, crushing him against his body. He kissed him back, fierce and hungry. In the breathless moments between kisses, Leo explained that this was his first relationship, let alone with a guy, and the social prejudice made him nervous. He said he hadn't meant to make him angry. Ethan murmured his understanding, his fingers tracing the line of Leo's waist, slipping under his shirt. He cupped his side, pulling him even closer. His eyes were dark with a barely restrained desire. He whispered that his waist was so narrow, it felt like it would break if he used too much force. Leo, his face burning, looked away and mumbled that he wasn't that fragile. Ethan kissed his earlobe, his voice dropping to a low, husky promise. Tomorrow afternoon after our last exam, come to my place. He asked what for. Ethan's reply was simple. To finish what we haven't started. Leo's ears turned crimson. The next day, after his final exam, Leo's plans were derailed. Chris showed up unexpectedly. His school had finished exams early, and he was in a celebratory mood, insisting on taking Leo out for an expensive meal. Leo called Ethan to explain that his friend was in town and he couldn't make it. Ethan's voice was tight when he asked if this was the same friend he had conned him into writing a paper for. Leo gave an awkward laugh and promised he would come over as soon as he could. Ethan replied with a cold grunt. He hadn't anticipated Chris being a whirlwind of energy. He dragged Leo all over the area surrounding Northwood, insisting on visiting every trendy spot and photo op. Leo was so busy entertaining him that he barely had time to reply to Ethan's messages. Eventually, the messages stopped coming. That night, Chris dragged him to a themed nightclub with costume staff. He was fascinated, taking photos of everything. Ethan called just as they were starting on their second round of drinks. The loud music carried over the line, and Ethan's voice was sharp. He demanded to know where he was. Leo told him he was at a club. Ethan reminded him about his allergy. Leo explained it was seasonal and he was fine now. Ethan did not sound pleased. He told him to send the address. Soon, a new figure appeared at their table. Leo looked up, a smile starting to form, but it vanished when he saw Julian standing right beside Ethan. Julian waved at him cheerfully. Leo managed a weak smile in return. Chris, now several drinks in, was leaning heavily on Leo's shoulder. Ethan's face was a stony mask as he came over, pushed Chris off and sat down between them. Leo leaned in and asked in a low voice if he had been with Julian all day. Ethan shot back, asking if only Leo was allowed to hang out with his friends. Leo mumbled that it wasn't like that. He couldn't figure out why Ethan was being so passive-aggressive. Julian ordered a drink and his eyes darted between them, an amused, knowing look on his face. He told Leo that he knew why Ethan had been so distracted lately. The person he was thinking about wasn't with him. Leo's eyes widened, and he asked how he knew. Julian laughed, saying it was obvious from the way Ethan looked at him. Only a fool wouldn't see it. He seemed like an expert in these matters. He took a sip of his drink and winked at a cute guy across the bar who had been looking his way. Leo introduced Ethan to Chris, omitting the detail about their relationship. After a few awkward pleasantries, Chris, thirsty, reached for Leo's glass. Leo told him not to, that he'd already drunk from it. Chris waved him off, saying he used to eat his leftovers in high school and chugged the rest of the drink. He threw an arm around Leo's shoulders and announced it was time for late-night food and then a gaming session back at the hotel. Leo didn't dare agree. The man sitting next to him was radiating an aura of pure menace. Ethan asked if they had been sleeping in the same room the past few days. Leo quickly clarified that it was a standard room with 2 beds and that Chris was just staying for a few days before they took the train home together for the holidays. Ethan gave a non-committal "oh," his face unreadable, but Leo could feel the anger simmering beneath the surface. As they left the club, Julian hailed a cab and departed. Chris was drunk and unsteady, leaning on Leo and rambling about what games they would play. Leo doubted he could even see the screen clearly. He got Chris back to his hotel room and was about to make his escape when Chris's eyes suddenly cleared. He asked where Leo was going, his voice sharp with suspicion. He told Leo he'd been acting weird lately, always sneaking glances at his phone. He accused him of having a secret relationship. Leo just smiled, tucked him into bed, and told him to sleep it off. As he was leaving, he heard a piercing shriek from inside the room. Chris was yelling his name, demanding to know when he had started dating someone without telling him, calling him a traitor to their pact of eternal singledom. Leo had no time for his drama. Outside the hotel, Ethan was already a good distance down the street. Leo ran to catch up, asking why he didn't wait. Ethan replied coolly that he saw he wasn't coming down and assumed he was staying with his friend. Leo said of course not and took his hand. Ethan remained silent as they walked. Finally, Leo couldn't stand it anymore. He asked why he wasn't talking. He pointed out that he hadn't gotten angry about him being with Julian, so why was he so upset? He told him not to be so petty. Ethan stopped, his voice flat. He said Leo was right, that he should be more magnanimous, and told him to go back and be with his friend. He let go of Leo's hand and started to walk away. Leo stared at his back, a stubborn streak rising within him. Fine, he thought. I'll go. He deliberately turned and walked a few steps in the opposite direction. He hadn't even reached the street corner when he was caught from behind. Ethan's arms wrapped around him in a crushing hug, so tight it was hard to breathe. He buried his face in Leo's shoulder, his voice thick with emotion. He confessed that he was petty, that he knew they were just friends, but it still made him angry. It bothered him to see someone else who knew Leo better than he did. He wondered what was wrong with him, that he had dark thoughts of tying Leo up so no one else could find him. Leo was taken aback by the intensity of his jealousy. He gently patted his back, his voice soft and reassuring. He told him they had only been together a short time, and it was normal that he didn't know everything yet. He promised that, in time, he would be the one who knew him best. The tension in Ethan's shoulders eased slightly. Leo took his hand and they walked home together. The moment they were through the door, Ethan pressed him against it and kissed him. Leo was discovering that Ethan's patience had its limits. He tore Leo's shirt in his haste and proceeded to demonstrate another, far more intimate use for shower gel. That night, Leo thought he might actually die.